Maurice Wilkey for CCTV and CCTV News, and I'm joined with actor is it Samuel or Sam?
Sam is good.
All right, Sam J. Jones, an actor with a long film resume over at least 40 years. So
41 years.
41 years?
Wow,
Wow. At least 82 credits to your name and counting. From 1979's 10 to you're actually doing, so I guess the good ones is slated to come out later this year or sometime this year?
Oh yeah, quite a few.
Well,
I think 4, 5, 6, yeah. Well, Life After Flash, the documentary.
Yes, and that's actually being shown here
And
too.
Accelerator as well.
Yes. Two great films.
Yeah.
So as he indicated, Sam, as you might know, was in the 1980s remake of Flash Gordon, and he's the lead subject of the documentary Life After Flash. And today, which is February 8th, we are in the Somerville Theater, an amazing theater, and they're actually doing the film theater, and it's actually lasting through the 18th. So now the documentary is called Life After Flash, and it's directed by Lisa Downs, following your life obviously after Flash Gordon, and it was a cult hit. Did you describe, if you would, the 40 years? First of all, I mean, you're like an Energizer bunny. You just keep acting and acting and acting. Did your time as a Marine, did that actually lend to your longevity?
Oh sure, yeah. It helped me a lot. It helped me with probably better choices. Being a Southern boy too. Out of Florida, I lived in Florida in my youth, Tennessee, Indiana a little bit, but yeah, being a Marine, it helped me a great deal. Well, it helped me to, believe it or not, with more patience.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because the Marine Corps, they kind of teach us to have eyes behind our head and give us great discernment, situational awareness, and discerning people. So a lot of meetings, a lot of first encounters, you thought, oh, are they listening to themselves? Okay, are they not hearing or seeing what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing? So yeah, it just helped me a great deal just to sit back sometimes and enjoy the show without being taken in or being abused.
Now that's actually something that not many actors probably actually have that in their foundation, that you're lucky enough to actually have that as. Did you tell that to other actors along the way about having that kind of grounding?
No, I kept that as a big secret. Okay,
that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's cool.
No, they'd ask me what was it like working for so and so. What was that meeting all about? I would prep them if it was a meeting, on what to expect from that person. What to expect, what not to expect as well. In other words, they're not going to hire you. They just want the meeting, okay? They want to go down the books on having a meeting with you, okay?
So over 40 plus years of doing acting, you probably a lot of casting calls along the way, probably hundreds if not thousands. I mean, how do you summon that? Okay, I'm going to go into this again, and I'm going to go into this again. I mean,
Well, the early years was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't trained up like a lot of really good actors. I really didn't start taking class, improvisation, scene study, and theater until I came to LA. So when I arrived in 1977, it was just sheer, I can do this. It was sheer confidence that the Marine Corps hoorah, I can do this, and not intimidated by all that. I just felt, okay, let me be prepared as an actor. Let me go in there and just be that person. And I never looked at the other 20 guys that looked like me in the lobby. I didn't look at them as my competition. I thought, well, if they want Sam Jones, they want Sam Jones. If not, they want one of those guys. Now, I'll give you a quick example. It was, I never forget, Kevin Sorbo. He's a buddy of mine. Hercules.
Right,
and
absolutely.
So when I'm up for Hercules, the TV series, again, I'm sitting in the lobby with 20 other guys, and all of a sudden Kevin Sorbo walks in, and I thought, there's your frickin' Hercules right there. He looked just like him.
Wow.
With the hair, just everything.
Yes.
And I didn't do that as, oh gosh, they're not going to hire me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was being real about it.
Yeah, just thinking yourself.
If I'm casting, there's your guy right there. Matter of fact, don't hire me because there's your guy.
Right.
And sure enough, he killed it. I mean, he was a great Hercules. And I told him that story, and he laughed. He goes, oh, he said, is that why I got the part? Because you said no,
Hey,
no.
say yes if it gets you a role in the movie that he's
But
doing.
yeah, but that was my thinking back in the early years. Just going there. And I thought, well, if they don't hire me for that role, they'll like me and bring me in for something else.
Now describe, I mean, your first role was, kind of major, like was a few years later in 10, with Blake Edwards.
Yeah.
And then you like fast forward years later, you're working with like Seth MacFarlane for Ted, with like a local connection. Were there differences or similarities with MacFarlane and Edwards?
Well, Blake Edwards, he was iconic, meaning he was legendary. He'd been around for years and years and years. Seth, he was his directorial debut, his first time, and he was incredible. He was professionally prepared, and the unique thing that he did, just like Blake, he created such a stress-free environment for everybody. Because everybody said, oh, you did Ted and Ted 2. Was Seth partying the whole time? I said, no, you don't party on the set. It's a professional environment.
Right.
But with that said, I've been on many sets before. I think I've done 64 films now. And it's tense. It shouldn't be. And it should only be tense if, you're out in the wilderness and it's 10 degrees, it's snowing, and the sun's going down, and you've got to get the shot now. This is the last day. They're not going to spend another 100K to come back tomorrow. So that could be a little tense, which is expected. But usually the leadership, senior level leadership, should create this a stress-free environment so the actors and everybody are freed up.
Going back to what you said about Sorbo, I mean, I was actually just doing a little research and looking at the Busted Crabbe flash.
Yeah.
His photo, a photograph of him online, and then I saw a photo of you, kind of like one of the posters. And damn if you guys don't look like very close relatives or anything like that.
Oh, Buster Crabbe and myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you take a picture of Buster Crabbe
From
at
his flash
the
card,
age of 24, and you take a picture of me at 24, and you put it, you would say, oh my gosh, you kidding me? I mean, twins.
That was
seriously.
crazy.
Dino De Laurentiis was known to cast with similarities.
Right.
He really did. And that had something to do with it, too.
So,
And the fact that I played Marine Corps football and all that stuff.
helped you out a lot.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Buster Crabbe?
I did.
No way.
Yeah, no. We did a couple shows together. I don't know if you remember Tom Snyder's show.
Yeah,
we
the
did,
talk show at night.
I think we did Larry.
Larry King?
Yes, thank you, Larry
No way.
King. And we did L.A. Good Morning. They brought him in to help promote Flash Gordon.
No way.
Because we filmed in '79, so this would have been Christmas 1980. And
Right.
he was wonderful. Very humble man, very giving, just incredible person, really.
Yeah, because I saw him on like a replay of an old, what's his name? Buck Rogers episode.
yeah.
And I was like, he looks so young. I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, well, he was around the same time as you. I was like, I wonder if they ever connected.
He's the only actor to play Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Tarzan, and of course Captain Gallant. But those three in particular, Tarzan, Buck Rogers, and Flash Gordon, the only one to do that. I think there was 18 different Tarzans, and he was one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Plus, he was an Olympic swimmer.
So that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So I guess the reason we're here because of Flash Gordon. Now nobody goes out to say, hey, I'm going to be in a cult classic, 40 years from now. You've managed to move with that tide really, really well. How has it been? I mean, saying, okay, well, I was in this one movie, and then all of a sudden it gains this traction as social media climbs and everything like that. What's it been like?
You mean over these years? Or
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
I mean, because you're the films, the films. What am I trying to say? The films.
You mean the way they've evolved over
Yes,
the years?
exactly.
Well, yeah, 41 years, Maurice, is a lot of time. I mean, it's a great question. But for an actor, it's the same thing. No matter how it's evolved, it's still the same thing. Our job is to show up prepared
Right.
and give a spirit of excellence
Yeah.
and be an excellent listener and share the director's and writer's vision. That's our job as actors. And also, part of our job is not to be a burden. You know?
Yeah.
See, and I think what's evolved, the transition into that, what's evolved is there's no more time for nonsense and drug addiction and alcoholism and attitude. I think those first two have been taken care of, but I think the primary one that's still up in the air is attitude. Who the heck wants to work with anybody, you know, with attitude? And I know, you know, it happens. Sometimes an actor or actress has to do certain things to get them in the moment.
Right.
I get people that tell me all the time, oh, you know, I was on the set one day and, you know, I saw Mark Wahlberg and he was a mean man to me. I said, well, I worked with Mark twice. To me, he's one of the most humble human beings I've ever been with or worked with. So give me your scenario. Well, I was on the movie set. I said, well, there you go right there. You're in his working environment.
Right, yes, he wants to be focused.
So how dare
right,
you say what? He didn't say hi to you while he's getting ready to step in front of the camera to give his performance? So I said, I'm sorry. He goes, yeah, I was there and he didn't. I went to say hi, but he didn't. I said, that's not his job. That's not my job, is to say hi to you. Matter of fact, you should not be on the set unless you're working.
Imagine if you're at somebody else's workplace and they just wanted to casually talk to you. You can't do that. At somebody else's workplace, so why should I be able to do it when if somebody's acting? That's their workplace.
Maurice, there you go. I've had a couple family members, you know, like sisters and cousins and uncles say, hey, I like to show up on the set. Sure. Let me just shadow you, you know, in your doctor's office,
all day,
right? Or your, you know, your attorney's office all day. No, I can't do that. Well, there you go.
That's it.
Okay, you're not going to shadow me either. I'm here to work, and plus it takes me out of my game, right?
Right.
Meaning, film doesn't lie. Film doesn't lie right now. They're getting the real me and you, hopefully. So I can't go back after it's filmed. So if I'm there on the set. And all of a sudden, my uncle, my sister, a loved one is there. My whole concern is their well-being.
Right.
I can't have that.
That makes sense.
I need to be focused on what we're doing.
What we're
now.
doing at the moment.
Yeah.
So in like Flash Gordon, you were working with people like Max von Sydow.
Yeah, he's great.
Now
He's
he was a
wonderful.
seasoned actor at the time, and you were probably fairly, you know, new to your game. Did he impart any kind of words of?
No, he did. Yeah, he gave me two bits. He gave me two pieces of advice. And the first one I heeded immediately, and the second one I think took me about 25 years. But the first advice was he taught me about off-camera lines and stuff like that. You know, I was trying to be smart with him because it was a big budget movie in 1979, Flash Gordon.
Right.
$30 million. Well, that's equivalent to $220 million right now. Okay, big budget. What does that mean? It means they take more time. Back then, lighting, changing cameras, it would be a couple hours before if they wanted to. After this shot, now we get the camera going this way. It could be 2 hours before the next shot. So I said, Max, you don't have to wear your costume for my close-up now, for the off-camera lines. So he looked at me and he said, Sam, I will give you the off-camera lines on how I best see fit that brings the very best of you out. And I expect the very same thing from you. And he went on to expound a little bit more. What he was basically saying was, I think I even said you don't even have to be here. And he really laid into me in a good, positive way. And the lesson was, and it was prophetic, because what he was basically saying, most actors, especially big name actors, won't even give you the off-camera lines. They'll disappear.
Somebody else will.
Whatever, or they shouldn't be there because they're just screwing around with you. If it's comedy, it's okay. Right. But if it's serious, you don't want to do that. So I heeded those instructions immediately. To me, it's funny. To me, it's more difficult for me if we're doing your close-up right now and I'm sitting over there giving you lines. That's more difficult for me than to be on camera because all my thinking is, oh my God, it's Maurice's close-up. I don't want to blow it. I don't want to blow his close-up. So I need to be, there's more pressure on me. But what he said was prophetic, Maurice, because as the years went on and another 60 plus movies, yeah, a lot of actors either don't give you off camera or they shouldn't because they're just throwing you off on your game.
What, off in your game?
Yeah, but this is key. This is key. Everything you do on a film having the spirit, and that was great advice Max gave me. The second advice was, he said, I've been watching you during lunch hour at the cafeteria in London, and you pick up everybody's tab. He says, stop doing that
Heck yeah.
and save your money.
That's right.
Well, that took me about 25 years to heed that that instruction. But yeah, he's wonderful. He really was. I mean, and he took the time to share that with me.
So you fast forward to your now self. What is the 2019 Sam J. Jones tell or say? What would he say or impart to the 1979 Sam J. Jones? What is it?
Well, I would say to the young Sam Jones, be a better listener. Matter of fact, be a better listener than anybody else. Don't take offense easily, to what people say. Yeah. A lot of our human condition is based on fear and ignorance. Yeah. So give people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Ignorance is not stupidity. You may have heard me talk about that earlier. Mm-hmm. Ignorance is not stupidity or foolishness. Ignorance is just not knowing.
Lack of knowledge.
No one's told you, lack of knowledge. Yeah. No one's told you yet. It's not been instilled in you yet. And then fear is it's fear-based. Fear is a liar, man. Fear is a liar. It's just something, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know. So a lot of people, I dealt with fear and ignorance. And now, once we've been told, once we have the knowledge of something, then okay, we don't need to be making those redundant, foolish choices or mistakes.
Knocking your head against the wall all the time.
And foolishness is, you've already made that choice, and you're expecting, and you want to make the same choice again, and you want to expect a different outcome. That's not only foolishness, it's insanity. Okay, making the same choice over and over again, expecting a different end result.
You're right.
Yeah, so we need to make better choices.
I think that motivational speaking, if you wanted to stop acting, that would actually
be good. Yeah.
So
it's just do's and don'ts. So that's why I tell the young Sam Jones: be a better listener than anybody else. Don't take offense easily. Have a sense of humor. Make people laugh, no matter what. And then whatever I just said about fear and ignorance. Expect people to operate in fear and ignorance, and do your best to try to fix that. And I'm not saying fix the person, but instill and encourage them,
to have a calm situation so everybody's outcome is actually the best.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah.
Do you feel like that has more or less continued to increase as you've been continuing as an actor over the years?
Yeah. I always refer to the human condition. People say you become a better actor, and I say, well, maybe I become a better person, and getting freed up in life as a man, as a human being, I think frees you up on camera.
On camera, yeah.
Whatever, just frees you up at every scenario. The things don't bother me the way they used to, They just don't. We got to find humor in everything. Now, there's bad people that do bad things. Well, look, let's just talk about America right now. I'm not getting political. Okay. Half of America is divided.
Yes.
Now, that half is separated by hatred, and the other half is, I'm not going to say it's love, it's maybe common sense, practical thinking. But hatred hates. I don't care. You and I can disagree about a lot of things, but why attack each other personally?
We shouldn't. There's no need for it.
And why?
It's just a different point of view.
Why is there hatred? What is hatred? And the people that are having hatred towards a certain individual, did they forget that they're also hating half of America at the same time? Hello?
That's a good point.
So let's forget about hatred. We could disagree on views or whatever, but our job is not to hate. Our job, even if we're not for that person or that administration or that group, our job is to pray that he or she or them will listen to good advice and pray that they make good decisions.
To improve the human condition.
Yeah, because
for everyone.
Yeah. Hate hates, failure fails. So our job is to bring the best of people out, and not to change somebody's view. No. Oh, you need to think like I think.
Right, because that would
if you don't think like I think, you know what, I'm removing you from Facebook. Okay, oh no, oh no. It's like my daughter said, I've got 3,000 friends on Facebook. I said, really? I said, do me a favor. Facebook them and ask them, because this is the definition, a definition of a friend is someone who will lay his or her life down for you. A guy comes in with a gun right now, I step in front of the bullet for you. That's what a friend does. So Facebook your 3,000 friends. How many of you are willing to step in front of a bullet or lay down their life for my life? There's your friends right there. How many responded? Oh, Dad, I can't send that. Well, there you go.
She doesn't want to find out the answer.
You don't want to find out the answer. So anyway, that's what we got to do. We just build people up, man. Build the situation up. Bring value to every person, every situation. We're not going to fix everybody. That's not our objective. Our objective is just to walk into a room and to be a blessing, and when you leave that room, to be a blessing. End of story. Whatever people think, oh, that guy, that Sam Jones, I hate him. Or that Sam, really, that's with men in my life, they either hate me or they love me. And it's okay with me because maybe the hatred, they're still trying to figure me out. Just so they're still trying to figure me out. But there's no hidden agenda. Maybe in the old days there were some hidden agendas. Oh, please hire me, whatever it was. Now I'm just freed up. If you want me, you want me. If you don't, you don't. Get somebody else in. But just let me know. Tell me right away, either yes or no. But don't pull me along for a couple of weeks or a month. Anyway.
You brought up a couple of things. I mean, one about, you said your daughter about social media?
Yeah, that's our youngest. She's 17.
You've had, what do they think about, the icon that's their dad because of like Flash Gordon? And what would you have thought about if you had to deal with social media back in like the 70s and 80s in terms of like, all these people have got to like me. It seems like all these different entertainers have this need to be liked, have to have like large followings. You didn't have to go through, obviously you're admired and the film has been, definitely highly praised. But you didn't have to deal with all that social media kind of, okay, they've got to like this, they've got to like that, I've got to tweet about this, I've got to tweet about that. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Maurice. It's a simple answer. A lot of people don't want to hear it. But yeah, for the entertainment media, the influencers, the social media influencers, I understand it. It's about the fan base, and I got that. Yeah. But hey, fans, come out to the Comic Cons and stuff because you get to meet us eye to eye, face to face, shake our hands, get a hug, take some pictures, get some autographs. That's really where you find out the true nature of somebody. But I tell my family, especially my daughter and I have 5 kids and 5 grandkids. But I tell them it's not a coincidence that the suicide rate in America is based primarily, the basis of it comes from social media, where how many friends do I have?
If you're not adored, you're not necessarily.
It's got nothing to do with you as a person. You as a person is beautiful. And for you to be waiting for somebody to accept you on an iPad or an iPhone is ludicrous. It has nothing to do with the human condition. It's just all kind of a make-believe world. But we need to be valued on how our loved ones react to us. And the only way we're going to be a blessing, one-on-one, is just getting out there with the people, one-on-one, and not really being concerned about what people say and do. If they could say to us on social media, oh, you're great, you're great, you're great, and then the next day, and then you say, hey, I'm great because they. Remember, isn't it funny how we always refer to they? It's another entity. It's not our world. It's a different world. But if they could say how great you are because you're now accepted into this huge format and platform, what about when they say, oh, you're terrible? No, we should never accept that. Never accept that stuff. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
You mentioned going to Comic Cons and those different kind of conventions, and I've seen different things online where you've been received really well, and you've even got a chance to share the stage with Stan Lee. Talk about
Stan Lee. He's a character. I went to his roast, his 94th birthday. I forget where I think we were in Dallas, and it was incredible. He is an incredible person. God bless him. What a life he had and a legacy that he left.
You met him? Did you meet him more than one time?
Yeah, a couple times. The first time I met him, it was embarrassing because I lost my voice completely. Oh, no. Yeah, I forget what it was. I think I was showing off at the table and I was, I was screaming in a good way at people, we were doing jokes at each other, and people, I was yelling at the end of the line and all that. I lost my voice, and all of a sudden, Stan Lee's people came over and said, "Hey, Stan wants to meet you at the breakfast table." And I went over to him, and I said, "Hey, Stan, how you doing?" And he didn't have the best of hearing, and I got down on my knee, and my mouth was next to his ear, and I'm talking like this and saying, "It's so cool to meet you, Stan. Been a fan of yours." And he looked at his at his assistant. He said, "I don't understand a word he's saying. Why is he whispering to me?" Okay.
Oh man.
So I said, "I have laryngitis." Tell him. So here's the catch. So that was, I felt so bad. A year later, I'm not making this up, we were at a different convention at the breakfast table. I go back up to him. As I walk towards him, he turns to me, points to me, and says, "So, did you get your voice back yet?"
Oh, wow.
94 years old.
Wow.
He remembered.
That is cool.
Isn't that incredible?
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had so much success. I mean, like the whole, Marvel Universe revolution now that's in the movie theaters. What do you think about all that? It's like,
He told me that evidently that those early years in Marvel that he didn't make much money.
No.
But now, I mean, all these years of doing the conventions and stuff, he's getting his due. It's amazing. I mean, he's set the standard. It's just amazing. Did you ever meet him at a convention at his table?
No, I've never.
Well, here's how Comic-Con works. There's only a couple of people that do what he does. It's Stan Lee, he did, and Neil Adams, the famous artist.
Yes.
Okay, well, most actors and most artists get one table, one 8-foot table, maybe 2 tables. I'm not making this up. I'm not embellishing this. You ask anybody. Stan Lee had probably 10 tables, that way, and they were all doubled. So each was a double stack. Each was 2 8-footers, so that's 20 tables. Anywhere from 18 to 20 tables because of all his memorabilia. Neil Adams is the same way.
Yes.
Probably, 12 to 20 tables. It's unbelievable. But these guys are iconic.
Yes, and they have so much material.
Yeah. And the material isn't just, it's not just, oh my God, that comic, what's the, $2,500? Wow, we're talking about rare, we're talking about collectibles. I was blown away by his whole operation.
That would be
really amazing.
Do you have a secret, collector in you as well? Is that?
Well, I do, and I collect it. I have something I think is very rare. I have the poster from that event, his 94th birthday. I have the poster signed by him and everybody who roasted him. They roasted him that day. It was a roast. Roast? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got pretty nasty.
With famous comedians.
And I have on the back, he signed my badge. And what else? And then he signed his little Stan Lee button.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I've got his poster signed by everybody, signed by him, and then my badge signed by him. I thought it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of signatures, but
you give out mostly, probably.
But that was, yeah.
Now, what was it like to be shadowed? We were talking about shadowing a little bit earlier, but for this particular documentary, Life After Flash Gordon, what was it like to just have people follow you around? I mean, this film is produced from people from out of the UK, but what was it like to have
people from the UK? Gotta watch it. Yeah, Lisa and Ash, wonderful.
Yes. Shout out to Lisa.
Wonderful. Maurice, great. It was a bit disconcerting when someone comes to you and say, "Hey, I want to do a documentary on your life." This was when I was 60, 4 years ago, and I said, "Well, I have a lot of life left in me." Okay, So, and then you think, documentary. What does that mean? That I'm sound asleep and there's a camera in my face. I'm coming out of the bathroom. No, we're not going to do that. Whatever it's called, Bachelors or House, whatever.
Yeah, Housewives. Bachelorette. Yeah, no.
It's just we'll come to your house, but what you're comfortable with. We shadow you on the road, your movies, your Comic-Cons, friends, family, whatever, and it's pretty cool. you never know you can't write the script in the beginning because you don't know what you're going to capture on film. So you write the script afterwards. And what turned out to be something really unique. Really, the platform I was given, for me, it's turned out to be, yes, entertainment based, but sort of for me, it's the do's and don'ts of life.
Oh, wow. Once again, it goes back to that, yeah.
And the most unique thing for me is when they interview your family. I'm talking about your wife and your children and your little inner circle of friends, what they say about you. Because my kids and my wife and my inner circle of friends, yeah, it's all about, they tell it like it is. And I mean, I've seen it 3 times, I think. And each time I get emotional because when you hear your children talk about you, not about, what isn't all about being great all the time. It was about being the dad, being the dad. And people ask me, well, what happened to you for a few years out of the business? I said, I'm just being a husband and being a dad.
Right.
I decided, I probably wasn't ready for the business at that time because I was probably still fighting my own personal demons of bitterness and anger. I'd watch a movie and say, well, why didn't they hire me for that movie? Well, you know what? Who wants to hire an actor with that kind of attitude?
Right.
Even when you walk into a meeting, you could have a smile on your face, you could look good and dress good, but something isn't quite right with his demeanor. Why is he looking, what is it? What's off about him? So I needed those years to be the dad for them, and for me, and to be the husband. And I think it helped me a great deal, So,
well, congratulations.
So this movie, Life After Flash, is I think it's really inspiring. I had to be transparent. Maurice, I had to talk about things that most people don't talk about, but I did. If we're going to have an impact on people, we got to tell it like it is.
Do you think Flash fans will actually, be like, what was there a hope from this, experience?
Gosh, yes.
That they'll be like, I want to get to know this person even more.
Yes. I really think you hear it all the time. It's a cliche. It's life-changing. I believe this film can be I believe this film is definitely inspirational, definitely instill great values into everybody, but also absolutely life-changing for certain people going through certain things, the human condition. Everybody's going through. First of all, the human condition, number one, we're always believing for something, for something.
Yes.
Number 2, there's a certain issue in our life that we want fixed.
Right.
And number 3, even the worst scenario, we may be in a state of emergency and we need something now. So number 1, we're always believing for something. Number 2, there's an issue we're dealing with right now. And number 3, we could actually be in a state of emergency. And I think this is for everybody that's dealing with any of those. Yeah.
It sounds powerful. Well, just a few more questions. I mean, kind of like, that was, you've worked with different sets on, kind of like the lighter side of things. You've worked on different sets, everything from Baywatch to, I got to admit, one of my guilty pleasures. What was the name of that TV show?
Highwayman. No.
That was one of them, but Silk Stockings.
Oh, yeah, that was you.
I was like, he was in Silk Stockings. Like, I used to like that show.
I forgot about that, yeah.
I used to like that show. But you've worked with, David Hasselhoff, Chuck Norris.
Yes.
Describe working with Chuck Norris.
Chuck is great. We were in Texas somewhere recently, last year. Could have been the year before. And I have not seen Chuck in a long time because, I did a show years ago.
Yeah, Walker, Texas.
I walked into, as actors at these Comic-Cons, we get to walk. I like to walk out in public with everybody, but sometimes the lines are so big you can't really cross. So we all get to walk behind the curtains. I came up as I wanted to come in and surprise Chuck. His wife grabbed me real quick and says, "Come here. I want to take you to Chuck because he's not seen you for years." And when I opened that curtain, I saw 500 people deep waiting for Chuck's autograph and picture.
Wow.
500 people. It was unbelievable. And all of a sudden his wife said, "Honey," he turns around, he sees me, and he just gave me the biggest hug. He said, "Sam, do you know it's been 25 years? I said, "Oh my God."
Oh my gosh.
But it's a great guy, very humble man.
He seems like he's a pretty grounded
but he's
person.
starting to do these, and he should because he's in demand,
and he's got so many
he's never done them.
And he's got lots of different layers from his martial arts to his TV.
Sure he does,
so I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten more embraced into it. What was it like? You were like on Baywatch?
Yeah, I think it was my first and only coward part. Wasn't I a coward? I think that the Learjet we were in went down
Possibly.
into shallow
Possibly.
water in the ocean. And then David's son, his
Yes,
young son.
that's right.
I was starting to panic, and his young son said, "Snap out of it. I'll save you." I think is what happened.
That is
but
so
I
cool.
remember that because it was David's 40th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to be 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. If other movies asked you to come back and be yourself as Flash Gordon, would you be like, okay, sure, I'll do it?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, they're getting ready to do. I meant to tell you, you said Flash Gordon remake. No, the Flash Gordon I did was the first and only full-length feature film.
Because they're based on then they had like the 1936
Yeah, they had the series and they
yeah.
had the black and white
Right,
serial and all
right,
that stuff.
right.
But no, this was the first and only full-length motion picture. But I met with Fox Studios a couple of years ago because they bought the rights. They bought the rights for the new, whatever they want to call it. They're a bit sensitive when they refer to it as a remake or a sequel. You don't want to, they're a little sensitive on the descriptive line.
That makes
but
sense.
yeah, for the new Flash Gordon feature, I met with them. I said, whatever you need me for. You need me for the dad. You need me as Flash Gordon. Whatever it is, I'm there. Let's do it. So that was our.
Well, I hope to look forward to that.
So it's been in development all these years.
Yeah.
Oh, did we talk, Maurice? Did we talk about the other movie I'm here for, Accelerator?
No, we haven't. So let's actually jump into that.
Yeah.
Tell me about what the experience was like to work on it. Accelerator.
David G. You met David G. earlier on
Yes.
the way out, right? Yeah.
Yes.
He was great. You're talking about being freed up, creating the same type of stress-free environment, but indie film meaning, you're eliminating any nonsense and any BS, and we got to get the shot. And I loved it. And you're freed up more. You're freed up as an actor to really get in there and improvise with the other actors, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and it was cold. I remember it wasn't 35 degrees like it was in Kentucky. It was snowing, but
Remind me of the setting again. Remind the audience.
we were in Vermont.
Yes.
That's where David lives.
Yes.
And there was a ski resort.
Yes.
We had a what do you call it? A snow cat, where I was the villain, where I used that snow cat to
Kind of run over folks.
chase people with. Yeah, I was a hitman, and the setting was Vermont, downtown Vermont, and all. And plus we had the sci-fi element of it with the little device. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. Vermont's beautiful, actually.
And Sean Young, my God. We had John James. You remember John James, the star of Dynasty?
Yeah.
Way back then.
Wow.
He's also the producer. He's also one of the actors. And good cast, good people, absolutely.
Well, looking forward to seeing Accelerator. I don't want to give any spoilers away because obviously sci-fi has that surprise element in as well. Very last question. Because I was actually looking at Ted briefly today just to get myself ready for you. The scene with you, obviously in the teddy bear and Mark Wahlberg, and you go to the bathroom, you come back out, you're talking about like it being like a 1980s all over again.
Yes.
Do you ever get like people who are, especially women who are named Stephanie, do they come
Yes,
up to
I
you?
get that at the table. Yes. So who did I make out this? And it's funny to see their reaction because they don't know the story in Ted, or they do know the story.
Okay.
Because it happened twice. Because I said, "What name do you want to put?" And she said, "Stephanie." I said, and I looked at her. I said, "You know?" She goes, "I know." I know. Sign it, Stephanie. And then you get the other one where same scenario, and I'll look at her and I'll say, "Yeah, sign it." "Well, what do you mean, Sam?" "Oh, you don't know the story." "No." I said, you don't know the significance."
Oh, Stephanie.
But her husband stepped up. He said, "I know the significance." But you don't want me to address that, right? And the husband said, No. She said, "Well, what is it? Do it anyway." I said, "No, I'm not going to."
Well, hopefully there may be a TED 3 and we'll see that as well. So thank you very much, Sam Jones. Sam J. Jones. Once again, you can check him out in 2 films. Also, the documentary Life After Flash Gordon.
An Accelerator.
I was just about to mention that here at the Somerville Theater, the 8th through the 18th at the Sci-Fi Film Festival, Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival. Please come on out and support good film. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maurice. Appreciate it.
right.